I'm tracking a strong cold front moving across northern Utah this evening. Coming up, where we'll have travel impacts tonight and how much rain and snow you can expect here across the state.
Truck drivers in the state of Utah faced a difficult task. How some intense winds prompted drivers to get off the road.
No one should have to experience that pain and trauma, and particularly those whose family members are lost today. I am so sorry.
In Boise, a shooting at a mall leaves 2 people dead and several more hurt, including a police officer. What we're learning from investigators tonight. And they've traveled around the world to a new home. Fox 13 News is there as more refugees from Afghanistan are welcomed to Utah.
Live from Utah's news leader, Fox 13 News at 9 starts right now.
It has been a cold, windy, and wet day here in Utah, all over the state, and we are tracking it all. We have Fox 13 News team coverage of the severe weather alert. Emily Tenser is in the Fox 13 News Nissan Weather Beast, watching the conditions on the road. And Fox 13's Brian Schnee spoke with drivers dealing with the intense winds today. But let's start with Fox 13 meteorologist Allison Krogan with what we can expect overnight and tomorrow. Allison.
We'll have some more very strong winds coming down right now and a lot of heavy rainfall. Logan peaked today 96 miles per hour. Many of our valleys, even Tooele at the airport over there, 67 miles per hour. We saw a lot of strong wind today. We saw a lot of rain, and there's a lot of rain coming down right now. Steady rain, and we're going to continue with probably 1.5 inches of rain in total for many of our valley locations here across Salt Lake. Now, our front has made it through the Salt Lake City area. It's made it into Utah County. Behind it, we have much cooler temperatures. Our temperatures cooled about 20 degrees in a matter of about almost as many minutes. So major cool downs. Heaviest rainfall right now is just north of Bountiful along I-15 near Hill Air Force Base up towards Ogden. Parley's Canyon, we mostly have rain right now. We're starting to see some snow coming down along the highest parts of the Cottonwood Canyons, and we'll see those winter driving conditions really kicking in here in a few hours. But right now, 40s here along the Wasatch Front, Salt Lake, Provo, Ogden, and Logan. Coming up later in the hour, I'll let you know how much precipitation you can expect tonight, how long this system will last, and what you can expect for trick-or-treating this upcoming weekend.
If you get there, you get there. If not, it'll be all right. It'll get there eventually.
Truck drivers were forced to pull over and wait out the wind along I-80 today. The stretch between Lake Point and Tooele County and the Nevada border had extremely high winds. At least 4 trucks had their trailers blown over this morning, and that ripple effect prompted UDOT to restrict high-profile vehicles. Fox 13's Brian Schnee spoke to drivers along I-80 who had to wait it out.
Some sat for hours, others for most of the day. Drivers waited their chance to travel a stretch of interstate that proved unkind to semi-trucks due to dangerous conditions. Truck drivers stressed the importance of safety Monday night after 4 semis got the worst of the extreme wind gusts in the West Desert.
You got to be safe, so you got to get home to your kids. So, me personally, I just be on the safe side.
The semis had their trailers toppled over in an area that saw wind gusts near 70 miles per hour. Those trailers also blocked lanes on the freeway and prompted UDOT to restrict travel for high-profile vehicles. According to Utah Highway Patrol, the drivers sustained minor injuries and most of their cargo stayed within the container.
You have to be safe than sorry.
Charles has been driving for more than 15 years.
I never dealt with this stuff. It's my first time coming out west. So I normally do like the northeast corner or like Florida down south or something like that. I took this load on purpose to see how it is, for the winter. But I don't know if I'm gonna do this one again.
What may be his last West Coast trip after this experience, Charles was transporting insulation to Sacramento, California. Another driver with a cargo load of macaroni and cheese headed for Reno, Nevada, says during inclement weather, sometimes it's not in the cards to get to your destination on time.
It'd be nice to, but they don't want you to put your life in danger. Like it's always been said, this stuff's not worth your life.
For these drivers, pulling over to stay safe and keep all the wheels on the ground.
You don't want your load to tip over, so you rather get the money than have to pay somebody out your own pocket.
UDOT lifted those restrictions, but they're still advising drivers with light tow loads to travel with caution or to wait it out. Brian Schnee, Fox 13 News, Utah.
There was a lot of damage in several neighborhoods along the Wasatch Front. In Cottonwood Heights, trees came down, Halloween decorations were ruined, and shingles came off roofs. Neighbors helped with the cleanup. They tell Fox 13 News it's the worst damage they've seen in 7 years. In Tooele, fallen tree branches took out sections of fence in some neighborhoods. You can track urgent weather with the help of the Fox 13 First Alert weather app. Just point your smartphone camera at your screen right now and follow the link from the QR code there. The app has real-time information on severe weather all over the state. Of course, we'll be tracking this storm through this newscast and tomorrow morning on Good Day, Utah. Now to a developing story in Boise. 2 people are dead and 4 others wounded after a shooter opened fire at the Boise Town Square shopping mall today. It happened just after 1 this afternoon. Officers found a person who matched the suspect's description, and there was an exchange of gunfire. One of the officers was injured by that fire.
Never should one have to, or does one expect, when they're saying goodbye to their loved one who's headed to work, who's headed out to shop, and that they'll get a call like they did today. Countless people found themselves in a situation they never would have nor should have expected.
The suspect is in custody. No word on a motive. Police think that person acted alone. The names of the victims have not yet been released. Moab police have sent the Gabby Petito and Brian Laundrie domestic violence investigation to another agency for review. That review will determine whether the 2 Moab police officers who interviewed Petito and Laundrie handled the case appropriately. Petito and Laundrie were in Moab on August 12th when a witness reported Laundrie hitting Petito, but the officers determined Petito was the aggressor. Now, Gabby's remains were found on September 19th near Grand Teton National Park. An autopsy determined she was strangled. Laundrie was considered a person of interest in the homicide, but his remains were found last Wednesday in Florida. $5,600, that's how much reward money is being offered to whoever can help police find a person of interest in a West Valley City man's homicide. Police and U.S. Marshals have been looking for 34-year-old Noel Lopez for weeks now. 82-year-old Farrell Bartkey was on his daily walk on October 5th when he was shot and killed. Police say Lopez is also wanted for violating his parole. If you know where he is, call West Valley City Police.
Shot a doe deer that was on private property from a roadway using a shotgun.
A state lawmaker from St. George is facing criminal charges tonight. How top leaders on Utah's Capitol Hill are responding. And booster shots began today for Moderna and Johnson & Johnson. We'll show you how Utah's rollout went. Plus, families from Afghanistan new to Utah are being welcomed with open arms tonight. We'll take you inside the touching ceremony.
Bronco Mendenhall back. Coming up, we'll hear from the Virginia head coach about his return to playing BYU this Saturday.
Heavy winds all over Utah today and rain falling now. Let's go to Fox 13's Emily Tenser live in the Fox 13 Nissan Weather Beast. And Emily, you're up in Davis County right now.
Hey, Bob. Yeah, so we're out here on the roads. I'm going to show you what we're looking at right now. We're at a light right now, but we're about to turn around and head onto the interstate. Now, we were just on the interstate just a few minutes ago, and things were not the best. The visibility was pretty difficult at times. We definitely had to drive about 15 below the speed limit to safely travel in the conditions. Now, right now at this moment, snowplow drivers with the Utah Department of Transportation transportation are gearing up and getting ready to head out. They're filling trucks with salt and brine to prevent roads from getting too slippery or too icy. One driver, Chad Collins, tells me they probably won't start plowing until after midnight, like Allison said. That'll be when the snow really starts coming in. Now they're prepared to be out and about all morning, clearing the roads in hopes travel will be smooth and clear by the time for morning rush when people heading on to work. Now, if you plan on traveling and come across a snowplow, Collins shares what you should do.
We just would like it if all the drivers would just stay behind us. Some drivers like to try to pass us on the on and off ramps, and that kind of makes it really dangerous. If somebody kind of spins out in front of us, we don't stop all that fast.
He says one of their biggest concerns with tonight's weather is icy conditions. That's why they're bringing out the brine tonight. They didn't have to use that during the snowfall a few weeks ago, but they're concerned that once the temperatures drop, these wet roads will then turn to ice. And now those snowplow drivers will mainly be sticking to the mountain areas for their snow removal, but we'll continue to be out here in the Fox 13 East on Weather Beat, and we'll make sure to update you on how conditions are changing. But for now, I'm Emily Tenser reporting live for Fox 13 News, Utah.
All right, Emily, thanks so much. On Utah's Capitol Hill, former Congressman Rob Bishop quit the Independent Redistricting Commission today in spectacular fashion. Here he is, or there he is, right there in the video, wearing a hoodie, shorts, and sandals. He called out the voter-created commission for what he says was them being too lopsided in favor of Salt Lake County and the Wasatch Front. Watch what happens next.
I respect each of you as an individual, but I'm sorry, as a group we suck. And part of that is simply the way this has been organized. This is a metro-centric group. When 5 of the 7 are from the Wasatch Front, 3 of the 5, the majority of the 5 are actually from Salt Lake County. We see things in a different way. And even though we took testimony from other people, we still see things in a different way. And for me, it's frustrating. And for me, I can't take this anymore. So I'll make it easier for you. I'm going to resign now. And I'm going to let you vote for the congressional districts that you want to.
And with that, he quit. Out the door he went. He told them, quote, "It's been fun." Actually, it hasn't been. Voters approved the Independent Commission to suggest boundaries for Congress, the legislature, and state school board. The legislature will ultimately vote on the commission's suggestions next month. House Speaker Brad Wilson appointed Bishop to the Independent Council, or to the panel. He said in a statement tonight he shares Bishop's frustration with how the commission has conducted business, and his decision to step down is further evidence that the duly elected representatives of the people are best suited to redraw district boundaries, as the courts have repeatedly affirmed. A southern Utah lawmaker has been charged with poaching. It's a case that could lead to him being expelled from public office. Fox 13's Ben Winslow has the story from Fillmore.
Shot a doe deer that was on private property from a roadway using a shotgun.
Representative Travis Segmiller is facing misdemeanor charges that could cost him his seat in the House of Representatives. He's accused of shooting a deer from his SUV back in August in the town of New Harmony. Utah's Division of Wildlife Resources says the animal was on private property. These photos of the incident were provided to the St. George News.
He did have a valid permit. However, it was illegal, as we mentioned, to shoot from the highway, to discharge the firearm within the 600 feet of the homes, and to then enter onto the private property without the written permission from the owner.
Representative Segmiller has so far not responded to Fox 13's requests for comment.
Segmiller loaded the deer into his vehicle and left the scene before officers arrived. Then the deer was later seized as part of the investigation.
Millard County brought charges because of a conflict of interest for Washington County, which Segmiller represents in the state house. On Capitol Hill, House leaders are watching the case unfold. Representative Segmiller could face expulsion or censure if convicted. In a statement to Fox 13, House Speaker Brad Wilson says he was informed of Millard County's intention to charge Representative Segmiller, and he's deeply troubled by the accusations. The speaker says he will continue to monitor the situation as it makes its way through the courts. No court date has been set yet. If he is convicted, Representative Segmiller faces the potential of fines or jail time. In Fillmore, Ben Winslow, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Tonight, dozens of refugees who just arrived from Afghanistan gathered at a West Jordan mosque as city and state leaders officially welcomed them to Utah. As Fox 13's Lauren Steinbrecher is live at the Utah Islamic Center, she attended tonight's welcome event. Lauren, how was it?
Bob, it was so great. Everybody came together here tonight, not only to hear speakers, but they had a big community dinner for everybody. And one of the speakers here tonight actually had a hand in helping hundreds of Afghans escape the country. Now he's here helping make sure those who are arriving in Utah do so safely and have success.
In the mosque prayer room.
In Islamic countries, the center of the community is the mosque.
And on behalf of the state of Utah, it is an honor. A warm welcome.
For most of these people, this is the first time they've had a chance to get to a mosque in a long time.
After a tough journey.
If they had any other choice, they would never want to come. But because they had no other option and to survive, they needed to come over, they were forced to do that.
Shabira Amendzada knows what these families faced, fleeing their lives and homes to start over.
When I came to Utah in 2000, I was 2 years old and we immigrated for the same exact reason. My father actually passed away from being murdered by the Taliban 1 month before I was born, so it was the same exact situation that happened 20 years ago.
Amendzada and the United Afghan American Coalition are making sure those arriving this time around get all the help they need. So is Colonel Randy Watt, the event's MC and retired U.S. Army Special Forces who served in Afghanistan from 01 to 02. His own grandfather emigrated from Afghanistan.
So I began the process. I put together a team, retired Special Forces guys that I've known over the years, some here in Utah, and a few on the East Coast, and so on. My group and 3 other groups have gotten about 400 Afghans out of Afghanistan to Pakistan, to Albania, to Greece, to a number of other countries to make them safe.
For Afghans finding safety in Utah, the United Afghan American Coalition has lined up food, clothing, and funds for things like haircuts. But there's something else they want to make sure these men, women, and children can find here. And it starts with tonight.
We're really trying to rebuild that community and that safety net that they had at home.
That is exactly what they hope, the process they started here tonight. They say the biggest question that they get from people is, how can we help? And they do have resources they've listed on their website. We're going to post that on our website, fox13now.com. Live in West Jordan, Lauren Steinbrecher, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Well, as you can see in West Jordan, quite a bit of rain coming down. 45 degrees here in Salt Lake City. We have cooled down significantly here in the last couple of hours, and our visibility is now down to 3 miles here in Salt Lake. So top weather headlines, the cold front has arrived here in northern Utah. Warm and windy ahead of it today. Behind it, much cooler and wetter. We're going to have winter weather advisories through noon tomorrow, and then we're also going to end up with some significant weather up in the mountains, significant snowfall. 7,000 to 8,000 feet is where we'll see our biggest impacts for the winter driving conditions. We'll have some minimal accumulations for the benches, flurries possible even into the valleys for tomorrow morning, so you'll definitely want to travel with caution. Maybe set that alarm a few minutes early tomorrow morning so that you can make sure you are getting to your destination safely. Now here's what it looks like on satellite and radar. This front has now made it all the way down past Provo in Utah County. Behind it we do have valley rain, mountain snowfall right now. We've seen our heaviest snowfall north of I-80, so near the airport, up towards I-84, so up towards the Tremont area. So across Salt Lake right now, in addition to the rain, we still have some very gusty conditions. Snow's coming down to the Cottonwood Canyons. Parley's Canyon is still mostly rain. Some snow starting to mix in, but we'll see that really changing over after midnight. And then we've got heavy rainfall to moderate rainfall for almost all of the Salt Lake Valley right now. Down towards Point of the Mountain this afternoon, we've been seeing our wind gusts about 66 miles per hour here in the last hour. So it's been very, very gusty out there today and this evening, and our visibility right now down across the Salt Lake Valley is a bit of a bullseye with some lower visibility. So right now what we're dealing with is some visibility right now down to less than 3 miles for some areas, closer to 2 for some parts of the state. Once you get down towards Delta, let's seen an improvement here for the visibility in the last 15 minutes or so. Still a little hazy out there, but blowing dust going to be a possibility with our strongest wind gusts today. And look at these temperatures. Right now in Salt Lake, it feels like it's 39 degrees, which is very different than this afternoon when our temperatures were in the upper 60s. Tomorrow when you first wake up, it'll be about 40 degrees here in Salt Lake City. Not hardly warming up at all tomorrow. So those temperatures by tomorrow afternoon will be very similar to tomorrow morning. Mid to upper 40s for Ogden, Salt Lake, and Provo. Let's look at futurecast here for the next couple of hours. High resolution by 11:30 tonight. We have a lot of heavy rainfall all the way down into Washington County, St. George area. St. George, tomorrow you have sunshine, but tonight you have the rain. And then once we get towards midnight, past midnight tonight, that turns over to snow for our highest elevations. That front is on the Colorado border about 5, 6 o'clock tomorrow morning, impacting Colorado throughout the day tomorrow, and then we will continue with a few chances for showers across northern Utah at times the next couple of days. St. George should dry out very quickly tomorrow, 64 and sunny into the 70s. After that, very nice weather for Halloween weekend here in Salt Lake City. 40s tomorrow, 50s Wednesday, Thursday, 60s for most of Halloween weekend. We'll talk more about how much rain and snow you can expect tonight coming up later in the hour.
Allison, thank you. Still ahead, data released today shows what college enrollment looks like for the new school year, why Southern Utah University is leading the pack. Enrollment is growing at Utah's colleges, universities, and vocational technical schools. Southern Utah University in Cedar City led the state with 8% growth, or about 1,000 new students over last year. Interim University President Mindy Benson tells Fox 13 News that with that comes increased demand.
You'll be interested to know that 42% of that growth was online, and we will continue to make sure that online is a priority. So we are growing about 3 to 5% face-to-face here in Cedar City. We want to keep our university smaller, our community intact the way that it wants to be. We want to be a good community partner, but we want the university to be healthy and thriving.
Vocational technology schools saw double-digit gains. Overall, enrollment in the higher education system in Utah is up about 2% statewide. Utah's hospital system is asking people to search their closets, garages, and attics for crutches. With the current supply chain shortages and low levels of aluminum, hospitals have an unprecedented shortage of crutches, walkers, and wheelchairs. But you have the chance to help by donating used walking assistance items you may have at home.
We are indeed in desperate need of your crutches, walkers, wheelchairs, and canes in order to provide our patients with the care that they need. At Intermountain Healthcare, we go through 1,800 pairs of crutches every single month. Yet, unfortunately, our supply chain has ran completely dry of this equipment.
The need is expected to spike in November and December, which is when there is typically a lot of orthopedic surgeries.
Certainly the million-dollar question is, where did the lions get it from?
Several lions at Utah's Hogle Zoo have COVID-19. We'll talk with one of the vets about what happened and how the big cats are doing. And we're taking a live look right now at I-15 from the Fox 13 Nissan Weather Beast. The Beast is headed toward Davis County, and we're seeing plenty of rain coming down. We'll get an update on the roads and their conditions and what to prepare for in the morning in just a few minutes. We continue to track severe weather all over Utah. Behind me right now is a live look at I-15 in Sandy at 9400 South. Having a little bit of trouble with that signal from the UDOT camera there, but we are keeping a close eye on the roads to keep you safe. In fact, Fox 13's Emily Tenser is live in the Fox 13 Nissan Weather Beast right now. Emily, you're up in Kaysville?
Hey Hey, Bob. Yeah, we're a little past Kaysville, kind of heading north toward Ogden. I'll show you kind of what we're seeing. We're on US 89 right now, and kind of like earlier, it's just so much rain. It's been raining for the few hours or so, and it's been really pounding down. I don't know if you can tell, but we really are taking it slow right now just for safety reasons. Visibility is, I mean, it's not great, but it's also not terrible, but it's still not the best, and we're really just trying to take it slow. At times it's kind of hard to see the lines in the road, but right now it's just really wet, and that's mainly what we're seeing. It's just a lot of rain pounding down, and I know I spoke to the Utah Department of Transportation earlier, and all of this slick roads, that's their concern overnight, is if these temperatures really do drop, then it could be really slick, then it could be really icy. Even some of the standing water is incredibly dangerous for cars that really do not have any good traction. So we're going to continue to be out here in the area, just seeing how this rain is affecting neighborhoods, but we'll make sure to update you. But reporting live from the Fox 13 Nissan Weather Base, this is Emily Tenser with Fox 13 News.
All right, Emily, thanks so much. If ever there was a time to have good all-weather tires on your vehicle, it would be tonight. All 3 brands of COVID-19 vaccine are available for booster shots now in some Utah counties. And experts say now is the time to get your booster shot before all the focus is turned to young children. Fox 13's Haley Higgins reports.
So you're not feeling sick today? Have you ever had a bad reaction to anything?
Registered nurse Carol Sanders works a drive-up vaccination line at Legacy Center in Davis County.
And then this is your souvenir Band-Aid. I only give them if you don't cry.
Monday's the first day Moderna and Johnson & Johnson boosters are available, in addition to Pfizer. The CDC is also allowing Americans to mix and match vaccine brands.
Most of them are getting the same thing that they have had.
While Pfizer is the dominant brand here at the clinic, the new booster shots are at a centralized table for those requesting Moderna or Johnson & Johnson.
And it's just a steady flow of cars from the moment we open at 10 o'clock to the minute we close the doors at 6.
Davis County urges people eligible for COVID-19 booster shots to make appointments quickly. They're preparing for the CDC's emergency authorization to vaccinate children 5 to 12 years old.
Once those kids become available, like I said, they'll be our #1 priority. And so booster shot appointments will be kind of far and few between, as we'll be limiting appointments there.
Utah Department of Health reports more than 112,000 Utahns received their 3rd dose of the Pfizer vaccine so far. Who qualifies for a booster? Anyone who received a Johnson & Johnson vaccine at least 2 months ago. For Pfizer and Moderna, you must be 6 months out from your 2nd shot, plus age 65 or older, have underlying medical conditions, or work in a high-risk job.
Okay, you're good. So 15 minutes in the parking lot?
Well, COVID vaccine boosters are available at clinics like this one, pharmacies, and your doctor's office. Reporting in Farmington, Haley Higgins, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Taking a look at the latest vaccination numbers for Utah, just under 21,000 doses of COVID-19 vaccine were administered over the weekend. That brought the total number of doses given to people in Utah to 3.6 million. The state health department is making it easier for southern Utahns to get a COVID-19 test before traveling. The test site at Dixie Technical College in St. George opened a designated lane for travelers today who need a test. The same thing is available in Salt Lake City. More than 1,400 travelers have been tested since it opened 3 weeks ago in Salt Lake. Utahns can get a rapid PCR test for free at either location if you show proof of residency and proof of travel. There were 3,600 new cases since Friday. 1,600 of those cases were from Friday, 1,200 on Saturday, 700 yesterday. A mystery is unfolding at Hogle Zoo. Veterinarians are trying to figure out how 4 of the 5 African lions contracted COVID-19. Recently, the animals started sneezing and coughing, so trainers decided to test them. The lions continue to show light symptoms, but doctors say there is no risk to the public, so they will remain on exhibit.
We think that the risk is minimal. The animals are behind glass, and in the areas that they're not fully behind glass, they're at quite a distance from our guests. So I encourage guests to still come and visit.
At this point, no other animals at the zoo have showed COVID symptoms. Since the lions are isolated from the other animals, the zoo does not believe cross-species infection is likely. The zoo is looking at options for how to vaccinate the animals. Still to come, how a coffee shop in Cache County is helping to prevent suicide after tragedy hit close to home. Research from the Utah Suicide Prevention Coalition shows an average of 640 Utahns die by suicide each year. Fox 13's Sarah Murphy shows us how one Cache Valley business is trying to do their part to make a difference.
Safe is about 2 weeks old.
A safe filled with firearms. But it's not where you might think. It's not a gun store. It's not a police station. It's a coffee shop.
Another veteran brought me his gun, said, hold on to these for me. He's like, I'm not at that place yet, but I don't want to have them. So I came up with the idea to get a safe.
The Butters say they'll hold any weapon in the safe for those going through a mental or suicidal crisis. They say the reason they got the safe is an emotional one.
I'm sorry.
They lost their own friend to suicide.
But with him,
yes,
you would have never thought anything was wrong, you know?
I know if this would have been available at that point, he would be here today.
Yeah, for sure.
Mindy and Jamie say that every pin in this case represents a person and their story. They say these stories are why they do what they do.
This safe is available for anybody who walks through that door and needs it.
With every customer walking in and the walls decorated with tokens of each person's life story, the Butters say they hope their shop reminds people that they're loved.
So many people in this community wants to help others that there's no reason not to take advantage of it.
People love you, and it's permanent. It hurts a lot of people, and they're missed when they're gone. Sorry.
Sarah Murphy, Fox 13 News, Utah.
If you or someone you know is struggling, there is always help available. Call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 1-800-273-TALK. That's 1-800-273-8255. It's free and available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Still ahead, trips to and from Salt Lake International Airport on public transit are now a lot easier. We'll show you how when we return.
Coming up in sports, we'll hear from the Utah football team as they get ready for a huge game this week against UCLA. And are you ready for the return of Bronco Mendenhall? We'll hear from the former BYU head coach as he gets ready to face his old team this week.
An old way to get to Salt Lake International Airport is new again. The Utah Transit Authority showed off its new track station at the airport today. Fox 13's John Franke explains the benefits.
It's a sight that hasn't been seen at the Salt Lake Airport since the new facility opened last year. Arriving travelers boarding a TRAX train to get to their final destination in the Salt Lake Valley.
Who here doesn't think that this is not now the greatest airport in all of the United States of America?
Salt Lake City Mayor Aaron Mendenhall was among the community leaders on hand to officially open the airport's new Green Line track station.
And how we move people matters.
This is how people will move. From the Salt Lake Airport, the Green Line heads east toward downtown Salt Lake, then turns south to Central Point before heading to West Valley City. Along the way, various transfer points for other TRAX lines and the Front Runner.
This is a big city 21st century airport, and big city 21st century airports need a rail connection to the center of the city, and we now have that.
That connection is a big deal when it comes to attracting conventions and tourists to Utah. Visit Salt Lake says those visitors spend more than $10 billion here every year.
The scale and scope of what we're able to bring in means a lot to our local economy.
On its first official day of operation, the station is getting 5-star reviews from tourists.
It's convenient and inexpensive compared to a taxi. It's great.
Those who made this station happen hope that trend continues, and the new Salt Lake Airport makes a name for itself on the world stage.
it'll be an easy walk into the terminal building, and yeah, I think it's going to make life a lot easier for a lot of people.
And UTA says to pay attention because in the next few weeks they plan to announce a program that would allow those with boarding passes to ride to and from here for free. Also, they're going to extend the Green Line hours on Sunday nights to allow for more convenience for travelers. At Salt Lake International, John Franke, Fox 13 News, Utah.
It was Puppy Halloween today at Cache Valley Assisted Living Center in Providence. A bunch of furry friends in costume were brought in. They paraded around the center and visited residents who spent the morning petting the dogs and getting kisses.
They're just friendly if you're good to them, and they love you unconditionally.
And we have all kinds of people who live here. We have independent people, we have people who need a little bit of help. But every single one of them really loves puppies, and it just made their whole day. They come here kind of thinking that they're kind of done living their best years, so if I can help kind of make their last few years worth living, then it's definitely worth it.
Oh, what a wonderful thing. For the residents who had to leave pets behind to move to the center, you can tell today meant an awful lot. Well, if there was a meteorological term for cats and dogs...
Yeah, well, it is the atmospheric river.
It's raining cats and dogs tonight.
An impressive system. We are seeing already some draining issues in portions of the Salt Lake and Davis counties this evening. So let's go ahead and start with our current temperatures. It is a lot colder than it was just a few hours ago. So we're now in the mid-40s for Salt Lake City, 46 for Provo, 46 for Heber right now, 43 for Tooele. Into southern Utah, we're still in the 50s and 60s. Cold front hasn't quite made it to you yet, but behind it, a lot of rain. So let's go ahead and zoom in right now just from Tremont and Perry, Pleasant View, Ogden, Clearfield, just west of I-15. That's where we're seeing our heaviest rainfall right now. But this darker green that you are seeing on this map, so all along I-15 and the Cache Valley, so our Sardine Summit, all the way down through North Salt Lake, heavy rainfall on our main roads, and also just urban flooding going to be a concern for many areas this evening. So that's brand new right now. This is new since we last met about 20 minutes ago. Just issued an aerial flood advisory that does include portions of Ogden all the way down through Farmington and Salt Lake City. So all the way down towards about the Mill Creek area, out towards West Valley and further north. This will go until 10:45. Urban areas and poor drainage areas will experience standing water and ponding. Travel with caution. Just had a Twitter follower tweet me and say I-80 near the mouth of Parley's Canyon has standing water on the roads, and they just saw 2 cars slide off. So just please be careful out there. Take it slow. Wind advisory still in place for Utah County until 11 o'clock tonight. For the mountains of northern Utah, that just started this evening until tomorrow. Winter weather advisories, including the Wasatch Mountains, north and south of I-80 into southern Utah. We have for the mountains also those winter weather advisories until lunchtime tomorrow. So will this storm impact you? The answer is yes. Almost every single one of you watching right now will be impacted in some way. Heavy snowfall with our worst driving conditions expected for snow above 7,000 feet, but sneaky tough on the roads right now with all the ponding that we're starting to see on our main interstates. You'll want to travel with caution, and our gusty wind is calming down this evening, but we're still seeing some fairly strong wind gusts, so areas of blowing dust still a possibility this evening. When you first wake up tomorrow, about 40 degrees for Salt Lake, Provo, and Ogden. By tomorrow afternoon, you'll notice we're hardly warming up, so tomorrow will be about 20 degrees colder than it was today. This is a significant storm that'll continue moving across central southern Utah through 1 o'clock in the morning. Once we get past midnight, we really start to see those snow levels dropping all the way down towards the benches. By tomorrow morning, 6 a.m., our heaviest rainfall with this main line from this storm will be at the Colorado border, and then we'll see still some remnants here across Utah through late morning. Other than that, I want to just quickly recap how much snow we can expect for the northern mountains. Mostly 6 to 12 inches of snow with some locally higher amounts possible for our highest slopes, and for the Cottonwood Canyon, some locally higher amounts, maybe even up to 1.5 feet, 18 inches of snow will be possible. And for the southern and central parts of the state, our mountains across southern Utah, mostly 5 to 10 inches of snow. St. George, mid-60s tomorrow, so showers and thunderstorms tonight, drying out tomorrow into the 70s. 70s by Wednesday, Thursday. Nice weather for Saturday for trick-or-treating, 75 and mostly sunny. We do have the chance for maybe some rain to move in on Sunday, so we'll keep our eye on that. But right now we'll call it partly cloudy here in Salt Lake City for this upcoming weekend. 40s tomorrow, 50s after that, 60s by Friday.
BYU has an intriguing matchup this Saturday when they host Virginia, and former BYU head coach Bronco Mendenhall, now in his 6th season with Virginia. He was BYU's head coach for 11 seasons, but when he left, he never wanted to return to face the Cougars.
BYU is near and dear to my heart. They gave me an opportunity to be a head coach. It's an amazing experience to now be able to return. I do remember when I was announced leaving BYU that I wouldn't play this game. I didn't know how to make it any clearer, but that didn't happen. But here we are, and that's okay. I can't say that I'm at ease, right? But once it was clear that the game was going to be played early on, then yeah, it was going to be played. And so it's 6 years, and time adds perspective.
There are just a few players on BYU's roster that were recruited by Bronco, and he said that's made this easier. But the players he did recruit, remember.
I love Bronco. I love his staff, but this is our team now. I love Kalani. I love everything he's done for us here for my past few years here. So I'm just excited to play against him. It'll be fun to see.
I have tons of respect for Bronco Mendenhall and what he's done here at BYU, but the type of man that he is, the leader that he is, he produces great people in his football programs, and it's been a pleasure for me to be here and to take over, as a new head coach in a program that he established and laid the foundation and was able to really do some great things. And so I have a deep appreciation and gratitude to him.
Both teams are good with 6-2 records, so it should be a good and emotional game.
I really can't control what kind of welcome I do or don't receive, but what I can express is gratitude.
Utah lost to Oregon State, but they're still on top of the Pac-12 South at 3-1. UCLA is 3-2, setting up a big matchup for the Utes and Bruins this Saturday night at Rice-Eccles Stadium.
First half of Monday is the hard part, recognizing things on film and being honest with yourself, because you're only as good as you are on film. And then the second half of Monday is moving on and saying we're still in first place in the South. We still control our own destiny.
No loss is like a good feeling. It's kind of weird because we are still first in the South, but we don't want to settle that. We want to treat every game like it's a Pac-12 championship game. We want to win every single game that we can. UCLA is a great team. They put up a great game against Oregon. We know what to expect, and we just got to execute the plays and the game plan that the coaches are giving us.
Should be 2 fun games, and that Bronco return should be quite the event at BYU.
That'll be a lot of fun to see that.
They'll cheer him, I hope.
I'm sure they will.
Give him a rousing ovation.
Great man.
Yeah.
Great man, good coach.
Yep.
We'll be right back. Take a look at this. You recognize these guys? Utah Jazz are on the Halloween spirit, as you can tell.
I love the
Donovan's a big stretch. What is he, a basketball player?
Yeah, maybe so. Maybe so. But these are from Donovan's Instagram account. Look at Rudy Gobert.
Wow. So, Bob, you were at this party, right?
Yes, as a matter of fact, that's me in the middle. It is
Batman.
Mitchell was a contestant on the Netflix drama series Squid Game.
Okay, that makes sense.
Joe Ingles came in as the Grinch. You saw him in the Santa Claus. Jordan Clarkson was Batman. That wasn't me. Royce O'Neal was a classic hippie. There he is. Jazz had to celebrate early because they're playing the Bucks on the 31st.
Yeah,
so
tomorrow they play the Denver Nuggets, so enjoy the holiday
yes.
festivities today.
Are they going to be wearing that uniform?
Yeah.
Quick test.